How much does the average setup cost to build and deploy apps and products? Not much now. Really good question. It depends. It depends what it is. So it depends is always the answer to absolutely everything, and it's not a helpful answer, but it depends on what you're trying to do. If it is something basic, for example, I've built this, building a new app right now, and I'm doing it live on stream, and I'll be doing it after this. I've built the basic version of my app, which I'm trying to pull up on screen. That's too complex. I've built the basic version in 2 days. It took me 2 hours to build, and it's not ready for the limelight. No, so it does have user login. It doesn't have payment or anything like that. It took me 2 hours to do. That previously, if I had built it myself, would I have been able to build it myself? Probably. It would have looked horrible, but it would have taken me a couple of weeks. Or you could hire a developer and it would have cost you a few thousand, a bit more. Vibe coding tools that we have right now, so things like Bolt, things like Lovable, Bleat, etc., are really good for putting together a first version of prototype extremely fast. That said, these tools are getting better. So when I first used them 6 months ago, I used Bolt mainly back then. You could get together a basic prototype, you could see if it worked or not, and then you'd probably take it over to Cursor or sophisticated coding tool in order to flesh it out and turn it into a proper application and get it ready for production. Increasingly, that is less needed. Lovable, for example, now has back-end integration with Supabase and integration with Stripe. They're putting in lots of new integrations I'm not allowed to talk about, which are going to allow you to deploy the Vibe coding app a lot faster than previously at a higher level. And remember that these tools just get better and better. Like Lovable, for example, the company is 9 months old. They are new. They are new. They've had 3 offices in that time. I was visiting their 3rd office weekend. You can tell it's a very new company, an incredibly exciting company, and they're pushing out changes quickly. So what this means is the capacity, what we can build with Vibe coding, is increasing basically every single week. So come back to your original question of how much does it cost? The average setup cost is very low. You need a Vibe coding subscription, and if you go over the credits, you pay for the additional credits. But we're talking maybe basic subscription is like $20 a month. I personally spend around $200 a month on credits, about 200. That is compared to hiring a developer. It's like a couple of hours of time for a developer. That's absolutely nothing. So it's extremely cost effective to do well. The bigger issue is distribution. So because it's becoming so cheap and so easy to build applications, the question now is, do we get people to use our application? Because supply is increasing because it's so easy to build stuff, but we are therefore competing for the same demand. You go to one of these directories of AI apps, you'll see that it's just full of great ideas that fail to find a market. To product hunt as well, it's like a graveyard of failed ideas. They did not put into place a marketing plan. They just built something cool and thought, off you go, off you go into the world. Good luck, not enough. Put it and they will come. Doesn't work anymore. You need to set up what your actual business plan is as well. And that's what a lot of engineers and a lot of coders are missing, is the business side of it as well. So that has to be taken into account. In terms of cost and setup cost, very low now, extremely low. Less than $1,000, I'd say, a few $100. Of saying it would be backed by law firms, yeah, I think that's the way. Otherwise, it opens up a whole can of worms. I think that is the way to do it. I agree. But you would use Lovable to build a kind of a front end. It doesn't have to be Lovable. You can use an AI tool to build a front end people use to scan their terms of services. Things like this exist, policy generators, etc. Popular websites, and they sell made policies for you, but you can generate your plate. People do that. Same with terms of services. So you'd have a website like that, but it scans and analyzes. And what you could do, if you're really aggressive, is you can build marketing in your sales is you build a tool which goes and it scans websites and it scans their terms of services and it does it for them. It goes ahead and produces a report, and then you ping them over the report saying, hey, a few issues here. Do you want help fixing them? That would be a cold outreach method, but you'd lead with value by saying, I've already scanned your terms of services. I need help fixing them. That'd be really cool. Mike Diamond, creating a feature roadmap this week. What's that for? Sorry, I didn't see the comment, but if you're building something awesome, fantastic. Have you given any thoughts how you'll test your Lovable app once you've completed it? I have a near testable application I've built. I want to monetize. Yes, so I'm cheating a bit because I have an audience. I have an audience of about not half, 2 million people. which means if I need testers, I can reach out to them, can pull together a beta program, I can launch. So I've built up my audience first so that now I can very rapidly iterate and test out new product ideas, test out new applications, software, etc., etc. This is something that I highly recommend other people do as well. There's a guy called yoniman.mp4. I'm modeling him at the moment. Done a really great job where he basically sat down 2 years ago and he's, I'm going to do a video every single day. I'm going to get my little camera. I'm going to talk to camera directly, build up an audience, and then I'm going to work out to sell them. And he has now created an application called Brain Rot. But he did that after maybe 300 days of just recording his journey of building. So he built up his audience first into hundreds of thousands so that when he was ready to launch, boom, here it is, guys. You guys have been following my journey. I built the application. I need testers. I need people to retire. I need my first customers, etc., etc. So having an audience makes it a lot easier. Peter Levels is probably the ultimate example of this because he vibe coded a flight simulator and he made hundreds of thousands from it. And if you've seen it, it's incredibly basic. But because he has a large audience, he was able to put it out in front of people in public, generate interest, and sell housing slots on it because he had that reach. Basically, having a reach and an audience makes everything much easier. Say this is somebody who's launched multiple businesses over the last 15 years. Now that I have a group of people I can talk to, it's simple. And it also means that if something doesn't work, I will know very quickly as well because I can take it to these 250,000 people, say, hey, are you interested in this? And if they say yes, I can proceed with it. And then I can do a wait list, I can do a pre-sale, I can build the first version with them, etc., which allows me to de-risk it each and every term. Whereas before that, when I used to make my previous businesses, I would build the whole business first, then launch it and hope for the best, which is difficult. He wrote a whole 10-week guide on this called the AI Summer Camp, which walks you through over 10 weeks how to build up a business using artificial intelligence, totally free. My website, in the newsletter, but that walks you through the process of starting to build that audience first so that you actually have beta testers, you have champions, you have people who can run it with you. If you do not have that, then your best bets are partnering. So you find somebody who does have an audience and you cut a deal with them. So you basically rent their audience. Either you pay for it or you give them the proceeds of the sale via affiliate or running adverts. If you don't have your own audience, you either have to rent it or you need to buy an audience. Those are the two basic options. I highly recommend Hormozi's books. His books are good. I know he's controversial because of his recent webinar where he made 100 million, 120 million in a weekend. Like, he did very well, but this is after years of saying, I have nothing to sell, I have nothing to sell. And then he's 120 million worth. But his book's very good. There's a book called $100 Million Leads. Second book. I've got his third book. His money model book just arrived. He sent it to me. But his second book, $100 Million Leads, is a very good book from a marketing point of view. Cool.